I was the kid who loved getting into everything. You know, I was a horse rider, very competitive horse rider. I got good grades at school. I was on the school debating team, the choir, the basketball team. You know, I was just out doing everything. At uni, I joined the hiking club, and I was off hiking with people a lot. You know, I was always busy, had a part-time job as a student, and just loved doing everything. I skied, I sailed, you know, you name it, I was into it.
So there was nothing at all in your earlier years that indicated that at some point in your late teenage years, in your early 20s, you would fall so seriously ill?
No, not at all. I was very healthy, very happy, very busy.
So what happened then? We hear about ME. It used to be called chronic fatigue syndrome in this country. And maybe there's a perception that it's not entirely a valid illness, it's just tiredness, and frankly, we all get tired from time to time. What differentiates ME from just someone who hasn't slept properly?
The difference is so huge, and I think nobody who hasn't experienced this can possibly understand how completely overwhelming the fatigue is. You know, I would sleep for effectively 12, 13 hours every day, which was a 3-hour afternoon rest and a night's sleep. And I would wake up every morning feeling completely hungover, like I had the flu, so tired to even stand up was just a mission. To walk up a flight of stairs, I had to pull myself up by the railings because my legs alone couldn't do it. When I sat down, I'd get part way to sit, and then I'd just flop down and land heavily in the chair because my legs would give out on me part way down. You know, lifting up a cup of tea required concentration. The fatigue is just so much more severe than a tired at the end of a big weekend or a big week. And people can't see that. You know, you still smile, you still look like you're not that bad. You know, they don't see how many hours a day you spend just lying in bed feeling awful.
So level with me, you weren't on a series of benders or anything at the time?
No, and it was so hurtful to have so many people who I loved and cared about and who loved me saying to me, you know, maybe you're actually just, you know, making this up. Maybe if you just got out there and got a job, you'd be okay. You know, do you ever think about that? You know, maybe you just need to get out and live again. And, you know, I go home and just cry to my mum. Just, you know, nobody understood. I wasn't making it up. You know, if I could have, I would have been out there doing stuff.
Is it a kind of creeping illness? Because you described that initially you had flu-like symptoms, and that's what it felt like. It felt like a bad hangover.
Yeah.
Did it start small and get bigger?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I did have a head injury, so there was a sudden change. You know, I was suddenly, ill from a head injury. But about, you know, between the sort of 6-month and 9-month mark, most of the head injury symptoms went away, and the fatigue symptoms gradually got so much worse. You know, I think that's, you know, it took another year or two before I was diagnosed as having ME, but I could see that it was a creeping thing at that stage, that every day was harder than the one before. And I'm thinking, what's going on with this? I should be now improving, and I'm actually getting worse.
Were you trying to improve? Were you trying to get out of bed? Were you trying to walk? Were you trying to be as active as your body would allow you to be at the time? Yeah,
I mean, I tried to go back to uni and, you know, and I was doing part-time and I had, you know, just such terrible headaches and just, you know, my energy levels were just worse and worse, and in the end, I can't do this. And I found, you know, I'd try to. We lived 5 minutes from the beach. It wasn't far, but there were times when I couldn't walk that, and Mum would have to drive me down to the beach. My day consisted of wake about 9, lie in bed doing nothing till about 10, get up, have a shower, have breakfast. That took me a whole hour because it was hard work to do that. Then I'd listen to a talking book for an hour because I couldn't read. And then Mum would drive me down to the beach and I'd sit and watch the birds for an hour or so, come back, eat lunch, watch one TV programme, back to bed, sleep 3 till 6, get up, have dinner, watch TV, go back to bed. And that was my whole life. And at that stage I was, you know, it was terrifying. You think, I'm 21. Is this going to be what the rest of my life is like? Because it's not worth it. This is a horrible life to live.
So what is the key then to the recovery that you've undergone? Because you're 31 now.
Yeah.
You're fit and well.
Absolutely.
More than that, you're fitness levels are very good.
Yep.
You take part in sport, you take part in activity, you're back at work, working full-time as well.
Completely.
Enjoying life.
Absolutely.
In a much better place than you would have been back then. What was the secret?
For me, it was doing the lightning process, which is a 3-day training program, and it's designed to help people who are stuck. So that could be ME, and for many people, they do come to lightning process for that. But it could be, any other situation that they're stuck in that they can't seem to shift.
For those who are listening, thinking if a number of people had treated you over the years, conventional medicine and complementary therapies as well, and that hadn't worked, what was so miraculous about the course that you underwent in London? Can you explain what the elements of that course were that made you better again?
I think that the course is brilliant at encompassing a huge number of different disciplines all into 15 hours. It's not a 1-hour session with someone. It's 15 hours over 3 days where you're getting so much information about the science of beliefs and thought patterns and how your brain works in an unconscious way. And then learning the lightning process technique itself, which teaches you to change the way that your unconscious patterns run. And so you need to use it. It's not a treatment or a therapy. It's a training program. You're taught the techniques. You are the one that has to put it into place. It's not going to work if you don't do the work. The work's not hard. It doesn't even take long, but you have to be the one that does it. It draws from concepts of neuro-linguistic programming and life coaching and a lot of the scientific stuff about how your brain works. And it uses so many different things, and it uses more than I realised when I was a client doing the course. Now that I've done my training as a practitioner in it, it's working on all layers of your consciousness, on every aspect of your life. It's so all-encompassing and preparing you for then going out into your life as well. They don't just leave you, or here, you've learnt the technique.
It's not just a 3-day hit.
You're then prepared for, okay, well, what are you going to do next? You've spent a long time living in a way that wasn't right for you. You're going to have massive changes in the way you live now, so how can we prepare you for that? So you're getting input from so many different ways.
So let's look at those 3 days then. Was it day 1, day 2 or day 3 where you thought, I do feel better?
Day 1.
Day 1.
I've had an afternoon sleep every day for 10 years and felt hungover continuously for that time. Day 1 of the course, after the course finished, and that's 5 hours long, which would have been beyond my capabilities anyway. After the course, I caught the London Underground back to where my family was staying. I went out for dinner with my family and I went to see Phantom of the Opera. There was no afternoon nap. I had a great night out with my family. I already felt significantly different than I had that morning. Still had a bit of the heavy head, but so much better than I was, to be able to go out for a night and enjoy my night out. It was amazing. Day 2 of the course, I felt that brain fog starting to lift. And I thought, oh my gosh, my head feels lighter and clearer. And I started to enjoy the day. and after day 2, I went out for a big walk, like all around the centre of London, and had a great night out, just walking around and looking at all the sights and just being really newly excited by how great I was feeling.